So topic number 8 is, you may or may not have a typo here, we might have fixed it, but it should say altitudes of triangles, okay? So let's look at the definition. The definition is the segment from a vertex perpendicular to the opposite side. So again, let's think about what's important. It's important that it's coming from a vertex, and this word perpendicular is underlined here. If you remember from Unit 1, perpendicular means it's intersecting at 90 degrees, okay? And so it's coming from the vertex, it has something to do with a right angle, and it is, the segment is ending up on the opposite side, okay? So let's look at some examples, all right? If I'm looking at the first triangle, ABC, right? Let's say I'm going to go from, we'll say from C. That means I'm going to start at vertex C, and I need to go again to the opposite side, which is AB, okay? But this time, it needs to be perpendicular. So what I like to do is I actually like to turn my paper so that this side is like facing down and C is up top like that. And then I like to draw straight down so that I get a 90-degree angle. And I can't turn on my computer, but you can definitely turn your paper so that when you draw, you need to make sure your line looks like, you need to make sure your line looks like this, and that these two intersections actually form a right angle right there. That's what it means to be perpendicular, okay? So again, I think this one's going to take a little bit more practice because it can look a little bit different. Let's just, before we get to triangle DEF, I want to draw one more. So let's say I give you this triangle right here, and I want to draw an altitude from, let's do from C again. Okay? Now C's up top here, right? And this time, what we want to do is we want to draw, again, straight down, okay? So that it's perpendicular. A common mistake is to go from the vertex and draw to the middle because you're thinking about a median, but this right here, that doesn't look like 90 degrees, right? We want to make sure that the line that we've drawn actually looks like it's intersecting at 90 degrees. The one tricky example is from DEF. Let's look at triangle DEF. Let's say I wanted to draw this from E. The opposite side of my vertex E is definitely this side DF, but no matter where I draw, it's always slanted and it's not a 90-degree angle. So actually what you do is, let's think about drawing straight down. When I draw straight down, I'm outside of the triangle, okay? That's okay in this case. I'm going to actually extend this line so that it can create the right angle outside the triangle, all right? So that's the weird little one, if you want to make a note, that it's okay to be outside of the triangle, all right? A memory trick's kind of dumb. If you come up with a better one, please let me know. Altitude has a letter T in it, and the upside down T, that's a sign for perpendicular. So it means 90 degrees, okay? All right, let's look at some examples. So again, I can ask you to name, draw, and do some algebra problems. So name the altitude in this picture. I'm looking for the segment that is from a vertex and perpendicular. So I'm going to try to find that right angle, which is right here. And here's this segment. The two lines that are perpendicular are this line and this line. Well, that means ZF is the opposite side and H is that vertex. So my altitude is HC. So now I want to draw an altitude in example 2 from P on triangle TSP. So again, this is that weird example, right, where when I draw straight down to my opposite side is ST, and when I draw straight down, I'm outside the triangle. Okay, so be very careful. This is usually happening in obtuse triangles. That's when this usually happens. All right, let's look at example 3 and 4. So these are going to talk about angle measures and setting up equations. So I want to determine the measure of CHE if HC is an altitude. Well, let's mark the diagram first. We always want to do that at the beginning. If HC is an altitude, that means I'm going C and H. That means my vertex is C, and I'm perpendicular to the opposite side, so that means that both of these are right angles. And now I want to find the measure of CHE. Well, that means from C to H to E, I want to know this angle, which since we've already marked the diagram, it's right there for us, it's 90 degrees, okay? So now when we move forward to setting up equations, whenever it says determine the x, so I need to set up an equation, and whenever I give you an altitude, again you want to mark the diagram first. So AH is an altitude, which means that this is perpendicular here, and it's on both sides. So most of the time with altitudes, I'm going to give you an angle measurement, and you're going to set that angle equal to 90, because it will be 90. The expression for x I gave you is in here, and that is in place of where this angle is, which we know is 90. So I get 5x plus 30 equals 90, subtract 30, 5x equals 60, divide by 5, and I get x equals, I believe that's 12. Okay? And then we're done. So pretty simple. Just it's the line from a vertex to the other side, the opposite side, and it is perpendicular. All right? And good luck with your homework.